Our next speaker is Dick Jones, and Dick is the principal and owner of Tidepoint Group, which is a strategic consultancy focused on ocean health, food security, and sustainable seafood. Dick brings over 35 years of leadership experience across the seafood value chain, including his roles at Blue Ocean Mariculture and Whole Foods. Dick advises global clients on go-to-market strategy, responsible aquaculture, and supply chain transformation. He's a trusted voice in sustainable seafood, and he builds bridges between industry, investors, and NGOs. Dick is based in Kona, Hawaii.
All right, aloha.
Aloha.
Thank you to Jason and Jim for inviting me today. So, as he shared, Dick Jones, CEO of Tidepoint Group, happy to be here to present to you AI possibilities for the aquaculture sector. So I figured that there wouldn't be a lot of aquaculture folks in the room, so I would basically start with a little aquaculture 101. So the definition of aquaculture is the farming of aquatic organisms in a controlled or semi-controlled environment. And that can be growing anything from fish and shrimp to bivalves and shellfish, all the way through to different algae like seaweeds. And why does it matter? So right now, aquaculture produces about 50% of the global seafood trade. It's one of the fastest growing food sectors out there. And especially here in Hawaii, it is critical for food security, climate resistance, and the local economies. So the core systems that are used to grow aquaculture products, you can grow offshore in net pens, similar to floating ranches in the ocean. Recirculating aquaculture systems, which are basically controlled land-based systems that are closed loop with water treatment, and also loco-ia, which translates to fish pond. So in this picture is a traditional Hawaiian fish pond. Back at its height, there were almost 500 fish ponds throughout the coastlines of the Hawaiian Islands that were producing about 2 million pounds of fish a year. And the ancestral Hawaiians would use these fish ponds to, there would be a gate right here, or sluice gate, that would be offset and allow for small fish to swim in to be kind of sheltered from the bigger fish. They grew, and then they couldn't get back through the gate. And that subsistence way of growing fish was used by the Hawaiians to ensure that they had high quality protein when they couldn't go out and fish or hunt. A little bit about the global aquaculture landscape. So, as I said, 50% of the seafood that we consume is farmed versus wild caught. The market is huge. So in a report that is now outdated as of a few weeks ago, the projected market for aquaculture will be $350 billion by 2030. The World Bank just produced a new report 2 weeks ago that said harnessing the ocean, $1 trillion opportunity. And so the outlook for aquaculture is huge. It's growing 3 to 4 times faster than terrestrial animal farming, partly because of what Dave shared earlier, things like water use and inputs of terrestrial animals are much higher than for aquaculture. And in Hawaii, aquaculture has been a staple of what we have used to grow high quality protein for a long, long time, going back to those loco-ia. Right now, our industry isn't huge at $100 million a year, but we really have some strong foundations to develop the program moving forward, including we were the first to develop a specific pathogen-free shrimp rootstock, and at one point in time we supplied most of the global broodstock that was available. We grow fish like Kenpachi. We have a lot of research and development here, and we have both micro and macroalgae, so a really booming aquaculture sector. So as I shared, limited scale, but really high potential, especially as a tech test bed. And so today we'll talk a little bit about AI for aquaculture. So why AI? Because that global seafood demand is rising, and it's rising really fast. As an industrialized commodity, aquaculture is only about 50 years old. It's happened within my lifetime. And so aquaculture in and of itself is still learning as we continue to grow rapidly. And because of that, we have a lot of inefficiencies in our systems. We need to be able to figure out how to be more efficient as an aquaculture sector in order to drive that cost of production down, to be able to scale faster, to be able to feed a growing population. So Hawaii is in a great spot to be that test bed moving forward. Aquaculture has very complex biological systems, so it's perfect for modeling that you need to develop AI. We have a remote location, so we have that need for efficiency. We have things like labor shortages, environmental concerns, and disease risks that can be addressed through AI. So, some of the things that we need. AI for offshore aquaculture. So, biomass estimation, it's really difficult to count the fish once you put them in the water. So, there are AI tools that are being developed now that can essentially predict the number of fish within a pond or an ocean setting. Smart feeding, so things like cameras to detect when pellets are falling through a cage so they don't fall to the bottom of the ocean. You're maximizing the return on the feed that you're putting into the pen or the pond. And behavior detection, so really helping understand, are we actually feeding at the right time of day? And are the things that we're doing to ensure that the fish are in a great place biologically are actually working? The remote monitoring and dynamic ocean conditions. I just ended a stint as the CEO of Blue Ocean Mariculture, which is the Kenpachi farm over in Kona. And we had at any given time just a half mile offshore between 2 and 4 knots of current. And so, it was really difficult to get people in the water and to be able to watch those fish. So if we could do that in a way that not just tracked the health of the fish, but we were able to take some of the activities that our team was doing and transfer them over to some kind of automated solution, that would be great. What would it do? It would reduce the feed conversion ratio, or FCR, and cutting those trips down offshore. We also have a lot of land-based recirculating aquaculture here in Hawaii. So things like predictive water quality control, automated sensor calibration, as Dave and Valerie talked about earlier, health detection, energy use optimization. For those of you that are here, farmers live in Hawaii, 48 cents a kilowatt hour for power is not very conducive to driving cost of production down. So anything that we can do in order to optimize energy use, and as you just talked about, integration with digital twin models to be able to replicate what we're doing to learn real time. So as Becky just shared, we have a lot of data in the aquaculture sector, and it's really never been harnessed to build things like digital twins to say, okay, I know my fish do this at a certain time. Now there's an anomaly here. How do I better predict how to change what I'm doing in order to help me be more efficient as an aquaculturist? And for the local EA, the use of drones and AI to map pond systems is really important. There is some of this going on now, but I think we need to do more of it to be able to really understand how to do some of the restoration that is happening within the local EAs at the moment. To build predictive models for tidal cycles and fish movement, and to use machine learning to do things like rebuild the walls. And there's a lot of this restoration happening that needs the help of AI to be able to succeed. So, use case. One of the biggest challenges we have in aquaculture is the disease and the mortality detection. So, as I said, I ran a fish farm in the middle of the ocean. You don't know how many fish have died until you send someone down and see whether there are any mortality or not. Knowing that early on, especially if there's a larger mortality event, is critical for the success of a farm. So using computer vision and AI for things like lesion detection, abnormal swimming events, then just any abnormalities that the fish might be doing will help with the overall survivability and output within the farm. We need that predictive modeling of disease outbreaks. So if you know that in warmer temperatures, there's a certain parasite that comes and attaches itself to your fish, and you can predictively show that that is going to happen within a certain amount of time, you can look for mitigation techniques to reduce the risk within your farm. And there's a huge cost implication of this to the positive, right? We need to continue to use these efficiencies to drive these costs of production down. One of the biggest areas I think we can grow is environmental monitoring. So using those oceanographic sensors and AI to do those real-time ecosystem insights, predicting algal blooms, alerting systems for compliance, and even for animal welfare concerns. One of the biggest challenges that we're seeing right now within the aquaculture sector is around ensuring animal welfare. It's one of the bigger challenges we have, and so we can use AI to help identify when water isn't at its optimal level to be able to ensure that we're treating the fish in the best way possible. And the opportunity in Hawaii is around shared sensor infrastructure. So there's a lot of different community members and industries that can use sensor driven information to help with their business, all ocean related, and we need to develop a platform for that. So touched a bit about this, but data is our weak link in the aquaculture sector, and lack of labeled data, no shared formats. We've got legacy systems that everyone is collecting data and not really doing much with it. There is still a lot of farmer hesitation. Will I help or replace me? And I think the more and more AI gets out into the universe, then people understand that it is a tool, just like any other tool, and it can help develop your business. So what the aquaculture industry needs from the tech community, number one is help developing computer vision and machine learning expertise to train those models to detect that fish behavior and to optimize the modeling for both developing digital twins, but also to be able to really harness the opportunities of learning about your product. We need affordable, rugged IoT and sensor hardware, as we just talked about, a user-friendly dashboard and interfaces. So aquaculture farmers don't necessarily have a lot of IT expertise, and so developing things that are user-friendly and ensure that everyone can use them is super important. As we've shared, developing the digital twins and predictive models, so collaborating between farms, using that live data to simulate the outcomes and test the changes and reduce that overall risk. We need data integration and interoperability, so connecting systems to be able to feed information cross-platform and to translate this outdated analog data into usable formats. I know that in the farm that I was working at, we were using biomass cameras. We thought that we were ahead of the AI curve. We were getting data. We weren't interpreting the data and putting the data to use. And I think that is a missing, especially in the aquaculture sector. And finally, open source tools and collaborative platforms to be able to grow the industry. And I think just to finalize it here, Hawaii as a living lab. So we have a lot of small scale farms, which allows for agile testing and use cases for AI. We've got strong research and policy ecosystems built between UH, NOAA, DLNR, others. There's a lot of organizations out there that will help us grow as a community. We've got a lot of blue economy potential, and a few ways to do that, whether it's hackathons or partnering with farms, is to build tools for good here in Hawaii for the rest of the world. And certainly I have a vision for regenerative, intelligent aquaculture for Hawaii, and hope that we will become a global leader in regenerative, intelligent aquaculture production because we have the blending of indigenous systems, the circular economy, digital tools. We see farms as both producers and the potential for climate sensors. And we hope that AI can be a partner with us for resilience and stewardship. So, mahalo, and you have any questions?
Yeah, we have time for a question. If anybody wants to ask Dick something about, I like that last thing about it. That was very good. Yeah. Any question? No? There we go.
Where are your ponds located for your testing at the moment?
So I was CEO of the Open Ocean Aquaculture Farm in Kona. So I don't have any ponds or anything that are happening right now. But here within Hawaii, we have so many aquaculture projects that are up and running, and I know that there would be lots of folks that would be really interested in working with technology-based organizations that could help to develop these tools.
Dick, is there any knowledge base around like getting around when I've applied different technologies underwater, it's been challenging to get the connectivity with the software and the hardware. Are there any workarounds to wired technologies?
No, it's actually moving farther away from wired technology, but the point-to-point transfer of data side of it, maybe Dave can speak to it a little later, but I mean, it's certainly getting much, much better. And I think as that technology continues to expand and develop, that there'll be solutions that will address it. I think we want to get as far away from being wired as in a wet, mostly salt environment as possible.
Yeah, I'll do it. I'm sorry. So the take home I'm gathering, excuse me, the take home I'm gathering from your presentation here is that we're just at the beginning of this, right? We're in the development phase of designing these AI models and these predictive computer software programs. But are there open source solutions to at least pieces and parts of this that are available now that you can start to integrate into your farm or
Yeah, I would even contend that we're earlier than just starting. we do have a lot of archaic systems. I've seen a lot of success in incubators and accelerators such as Hatch, who've done a great job at bringing young technology-based entrepreneurs and companies into Hawaii and using the Hawaiian companies as that test bed to be able to grow the system. So there are off-the-shelf, technology solutions and relationships you can develop with companies that do things like biomass estimation, that do things like, oxygen sensor testings and all those other things. They tend to be very one-off. There's no comprehensive platform, but there's certainly a lot of opportunity out there. I think one of the things that maybe groups that are around trade associations or things for the state could develop a resource platform to be able to have a place for people to go and understand what's available to them and how they reach out to those people.
Excellent. Okay, thank you so much.